My life changed in 15 minutes, that's all it took, not a lifetime, not a year, not even a full day, just 15 short minutes. One moment I was living my life, working my job and feeling secure in the world I had built for myself. I had a roof over my head and a routine that brought me comfort. I believed in doing the right thing. I believed that if you were a good person, good things would mostly come your way. The next moment, the entire foundation of that life was ripped out from under me, like a rug pulled with such force that I couldn't even catch my breath before I hit the ground hard. I had no warning, no chance to prepare. It was sudden, brutal, and complete. Everything I had worked for was gone. My job, which was more than just a paycheck, was terminated. It was a place where I felt I belonged, where I had colleagues who felt like family. My home, the one place on this earth where I was supposed to feel safe and secure, was no longer mine. The locks were changed on my life, both literally and figuratively. I stood there holding a notice in my hand and the words on the paper swam before my eyes. They didn't make sense. How could this be happening? It felt like a nightmare, the kind you desperately try to wake up from but your eyes remain stubbornly shut, trapping you in the terror. The shock felt like a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. I couldn't think straight. My mind was a whirlwind of confusion, fear, and a deep, sinking despair. I tried to retrace my steps to understand what could have possibly led to this catastrophic moment, but there was nothing. Just a simple act of kindness, an attempt to help someone who I thought needed it. I could not comprehend how doing something good could lead to such a devastating outcome. The injustice of it all was a bitter pill to swallow, a poison that started to seep into every part of my being, turning my hope into ashes. In those first few hours I learned a hard lesson about how fast a life can unravel. The world I knew had vanished. The person I thought I was, a good man, a helpful neighbor, a reliable employee, had been replaced by a label I didn't recognize. I was suddenly an outcast, stripped of my dignity and my stability in the blink of an eye. The loneliness was immediate and overwhelming. It was the crushing realization that the system I trusted, the community I was a part of, could cast me aside so quickly based on a lie. My world hadn't just changed, it had crumbled into dust around me. But before it all fell apart, I had been building something of my own, a small online collectibles store. I'd invested years and nearly $20,000 in assets, carefully curating inventory, photographing each piece, and shipping orders to customers around the world. For a fresh start, I'd moved in with a friend. No strings attached, just two people splitting bills, each with our own room and space. That arrangement gave me the freedom and time to pour even more energy into my business. With the bills shared and the pressure eased, I could focus on growing the store, expanding my reach, and building something that felt truly mine. But when I was suddenly removed from my home, I lost all access, not just to my living space but to my business and every asset I'd worked so hard to build. I couldn't protect my inventory, fulfill orders, or even log in to manage the store. In an instant, everything I'd built, my livelihood, my future, my $20,000 in assets, was left vulnerable, out of my reach, and at the mercy of forces I couldn't control. It all started with an act of kindness. That's the part that haunts me the most. I saw someone who seemed to be in need, and my first instinct was to help. I didn't think twice about it. It's how I was raised. You see someone struggling, you offer a hand. You don't ask for anything in return. You just do it because it's the right thing to do, because we are all human beings who need to look out for one another. I offered support without any expectation, believing I was making a small, positive difference in someone else's day. It was a simple gesture, one I had made many times before without a second thought. This time, however, that simple act of goodness was twisted. The person I helped took my kindness and used it to build a story of lies. They went before people in power and swore an oath, and then they broke that oath with words that were not true. They painted me as someone I am not. They turned my help into a weapon and aimed it directly at my life, my reputation, and my future. I cannot explain the feeling of betrayal that comes from seeing your own goodwill used to destroy you. It is a deep and painful wound, one that makes you question the very nature of trust and human decency. The accusation was a complete fabrication, born from a place I cannot begin to understand. As I listened to the claims made against me, it felt like I was hearing about a stranger. The person they described was not me. Every detail was a distortion, every statement a carefully constructed falsehood designed to cause the maximum amount of damage. It was a story told under oath, which gave it the weight of truth in the eyes of others. But I knew it was a lie. I stood there, my own truth silenced. while this fiction was accepted as fact. The power of a lie, especially one told with conviction, is a terrifying thing to witness firsthand. My entire reality was flipped upside down because I chose to be kind. This is a truth I struggle with every single day. How do you reconcile a world where doing good can lead to your own destruction? It makes you want to build walls around your heart to never reach out to a stranger again. But I can't let that happen. I refuse to let this experience turn me into a person who is cynical and afraid. My belief in the goodness of people has been shaken to its core, but it is not broken. I still believe that kindness matters, even if mine was used to bring me to my knees. The consequences of the false accusation were swift and merciless. The shame was a heavy cloak I couldn't take off. With everything so uncertain, I was constantly worried about where I would end up next. Without stability, every day felt like a new threat to my sense of home. The place where I slept, ate my meals, and felt safe was suddenly no longer my sanctuary. I had to pack up my entire life into a few boxes, each item a painful reminder of the life that was stolen from me. I was homeless. The feeling of not having a place to call your own is a profound and soul-crushing experience. You feel adrift, disconnected from the world, with no anchor to hold you down. Every night, the uncertainty of where I would sleep was a fresh wave of anxiety and fear. The emotional toll has been immense. The weight of this injustice is something I carry with me every second of every day. It's a constant pressure in my chest, a knot in my stomach that never goes away. Some days it's hard to get out of bed. The despair is a thick fog that makes it difficult to see any light. I feel isolated, as if I'm screaming for help in a soundproof room. People look at you differently when you've been accused of something terrible, even if it's not true. You see the doubt in their eyes, you feel their judgment. You learn who your true friends are, and sometimes, you learn that you have fewer than you thought. Fighting back feels like climbing a mountain made of sand. The legal system is slow, complicated, and expensive. It's a battle I was never prepared for. Every dollar I have goes toward legal fees, toward trying to prove my innocence. It's a fight for my name, for my reputation, for the truth. It is exhausting mentally, emotionally, and financially. There are days when I feel like giving up, when the weight is just too much to bear. But then I remember what is at stake. This is not just about clearing my name, it's about reclaiming my life and my belief that truth must prevail over lies. My fight today is not just for me. It is for everyone who has ever been or ever will be in my shoes. I have learned that injustice can happen to anyone, at any time. A false accusation can shatter a life with terrifying speed, and the path back is long and difficult. As I navigate this nightmare, I am fueled by a new purpose. I want to one day create a foundation or a support network for people who have been wrongfully accused. I want to build a place where they can find legal resources, financial help, and emotional support. No one should have to walk this path alone, feeling lost and abandoned by the world. I dream of a future where my story can be a source of strength for others. I want to be able to tell them, I've been there, I know your pain, and I know that you can survive this. I hope to turn my own suffering into a beacon of hope. This experience, as terrible as it has been, has opened my eyes to a deep flaw in our system and a deep need in our society. If I can clear my name and rebuild my life, I will dedicate myself to ensuring that others have the tools and the community they need to fight for their own truth. This is the hope that keeps me going on the darkest days. This journey is impossible to walk alone. The financial burden of legal fees and basic living expenses is overwhelming. That is why I am turning to you, to the kindness of strangers, and asking for your help. I have started a GoFundMe campaign to help cover these costs so I can continue my fight for justice. Your support, no matter the size, would mean the world to me. It would be a lifeline in this storm, a message that I am not alone and that people still believe in fairness and truth. It would give me the strength to keep fighting, not just for myself, but for the future I hope to build for others. Thank you for taking the time to read my story. Your compassion and support are the lights that guide me through this darkness. If you are able to help, you can find my donation links below. I will also be documenting my journey and sharing updates on my YouTube channel, in the hopes that my fight can bring awareness to this issue. Your belief in me restores my belief in humanity. GoFundMe, https://gofund.me/6986f8bd, Cash App $Jayton26, PayPal at Carney Joseph 39, YouTube Jayton26, with deepest gratitude, Joseph Carney.